Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. No, Sam. She is celebrating her anniversary, and I do not know what number it is. Is it like 16, 15?
I mean, it's got to be...
it's up there.
Yeah. I mean, they've been with each other.
That's what I mean.
Since high school.
That's what I mean. Like, I think
married,
it's like 15 years. No, they haven't been married 15. They've been married like 7.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, but happy anniversary, Sam. We hope that you and
Why'd
your
you
hubby...
even bring it up? So we act like we don't know what the hell...
I don't know yours, and you don't know mine.
Yeah, but everybody knows that.
And I don't know our guests, and he's been married for a very long time.
I remember going to his wedding.
It was awesome. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Jim Colbert Show, heard on Real Radio 104.1, the host, the namesake, it is our good friend, Jim Colbert.
Hey, guys, what's going on?
When did you get married, Jimmy?
Yeah. Here's the best thing. The marriage thing with you guys and me is a little bit of a sore subject. Are you aware of that?
What do you mean?
Because we drank a lot, or I did.
Well, what happened was...
we started yelling at the bartender, make as many drinks as you can, because we were like, Jimmy's paying for this, and we were ordering 10 doubles.
Yeah.
He was about to leave, and he was like, I have to pack up. Like,
it was triple.
10 triples.
It was triple.
It was all of that. Here's how I found out about that, right? So I'm married, by the way, it's September 24th.
Congratulations.
2005 was the date of my marriage.
2005?
Yeah.
2005.
Oh, my God.
This year's 18 years, bro.
2005.
18 years. Can you believe it? That's crazy, right?
What was the big song in 05?
Oh, man, I do not know.
I'll look that up, but continue.
It's got to be Ace of Base.
Oh, yeah, I like it. No, that was 90s. That might have been
90s.
Rihanna, Umbrella.
It might have been, right?
It does start fading into all the...
It's all the same.
Yeah, these decades became days.
Yeah.
Well, the wedding story is this, my sweet mother-in-law, the wife of the preacher.
Yeah.
Agreed to
I
pay
like her a lot. She's very nice.
Agreed to pay the tab. Well, the worst human beings on planet Earth to know that the bar is open tab starts with you two fools.
Well, we didn't know.
No.
Don't you try. Don't you dare try. And here's why.
I thought it was you.
Mother-in-law stands up and goes, okay, last call. You got about 10 minutes. So what do these turds do? They walk straight to the bar and they order trays of drinks. You did not order drinks. You ordered trays of drinks. Do you know how much that last run cost me? That's a smooth $500.
Oh,
that last run was $500.
I wish it was more.
And we were doing
$3,800 bill.
It was like triple Sailor Jerry's.
Yeah, Sailor Jerry's.
I was like, give me the Diet Coke and a triple Sailor Jerry. Oh, that's disgusting.
It shouldn't be that much.
The maddest my wife has been that entire night is the fact that it's Sailor Jerry.
I liked when you borrowed, or was that for your anniversary? Or,
that was the wedding.
That was the Thurston.
You borrowed a Jaguar.
You got himself a Jaguar.
Yeah, I'm not leaving in a Camry, dude.
Out of all the weddings I've ever been to, you were the only one that had
out of there.
The stereotypical cans on the back.
No, not true.
No?
I believe, and this is really sore
I've never seen the cans. I'm like, old man with the cans.
I'm going to give you the super sore subject. I believe Tuttle had a horse and carriage with cans.
Yeah.
A horse and blanking carriage this man rode through Savannah, Georgia, like a southern king.
You were like a top
hat.
Like
he had a top hat like a southern.
Oh, that's right. They were doing that Midnight of Garden and Evil.
Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. Yeah, and then he rode out. I was eating.
That was the apex of his life.
I was literally, this is the fanciest wedding I've ever been to. I was eating shrimp and grits out of a champagne flute while he rode away in a horse and carriage.
We went on a ghost tour during like the reception.
I dipped out to smoke weed. I dipped out to smoke weed because it was the worst ghost tour.
And even then, you had to have known something was wrong. Like even in its perfection, you're like, I don't know, something isn't right.
She knew.
Everybody knew.
Everybody knew at that point to enjoy the grits. Enjoy them.
Savor the grits.
Savor those grits. And you know what's hard?
Nibble on the shrimp.
It's hard to get the shrimp out of the champagne flute with the spoon. Is you got to have almost like a grapefruit spoon.
That's a bad design.
Yeah, beautiful though.
True story about that. That's the only thing Crystal could eat was the grits, and she had to gag them down because the shrimp was too close. Like everything else was meat, so
she can't go pescatarian for one night.
So every bite she looks like a cat throwing up a fur ball.
So she had two margarita glasses of grits, and then she drank the So we got blacked out at Tuttle's wedding. I mean, we were in our 20s. So
it was
different
also
time.
open bar.
There was a time in my life where when everybody was getting married in my 20s, every wedding I'd go to, it was an excuse to get blacked out.
Just blast it.
I mean,
you're there to celebrate, right?
Yeah. And then Crystal was fine with it. I remember it was like, all right, we're going to get blacked out. And then the next day, Crystal's mom lived in Atlanta, and her sister at the time, which was like 9 years old, she came to meet us in Savannah. No, but I'm just saying, this is how young her sister was at the time. And then
you
Crystal
were getting blasted when Alex was 9?
No, well, this is the next day. We meet him after Tuttle's wedding.
She's like a grown woman now.
Yeah, but she had her own room.
I know, nearly 30 now.
No, but I'm saying
time passes.
He's still getting blasted is my point.
No. So then we spent the day in Savannah, like walking around, like with Crystal's mom, and Crystal was puking in the bushes at every square we stayed.
Let me tell you,
midnight in the Garden of Grits.
She was like,
evil.
no. And
that's like movie puke. Grits, like 6 pounds of grits.
Yeah, and
grits, she was poisoned.
And smaller grit or smaller foods will come through your nose. It's so good.
That's when you know you're really done.
You got to do the wipe, and then you got to go blow your nose, and you're blowing food out of your nose, and you're like, you look in the mirror, and you're like, you need to change your life.
I puked a piece of hot dog into my sinuses once.
Also,
so I was inhaling nitrates for like 3 weeks.
Salty in my nose.
I remember a time where we were so young you couldn't afford hotels places. So like after weddings or whatever, you're like, I guess I'll just drive home 3 hours.
After drinking straight from the keg for 40 straight minutes.
I'll give it 2 hours. Drink some water for.
I'm good. I'm just really tired.
Hour and a half. All right,
it's
go.
funny you would tell yourself, you're just like, I'm not drunk. I'm just really tired. No, you're drunk. You're absolutely drunk.
And then that whole water thing, you drink like 8 ounces of water after drinking for 6 straight hours. You think they should do it, right?
There's
the Band-Aid.
So how you been, Jimmy?
I'm great, buddy. I'm doing really good. I had a great 2022.
So what are you into now? I know for a while I heard you were in a tree stand pretending to hunt.
What was that? Into archery.
Archery.
I got a bow because I wanted to go hog hunting, but it just hasn't.
Hog hunting, that's where you go get fat girls at the bars. I've done that.
So
big fat whales, and you're like, I know you need love.
So but I haven't made that happen yet. I'm still going to do it though, but I don't have a timeline on it. I kind of put my car project on hold because again, time is just a complete murder scene. When you know, being a member of a show and hosting a show is way different. The time-consuming nature of getting a show ready even at 3 o'clock in the afternoon is the entire day. It's just so for me to
You're working too hard.
For me to even
you gotta pull back, man.
Just show up and do whatever.
Yeah, I can't do that.
You're not doing the hosting. The staff is supposed to do everything.
Right. Get a packet.
You're literally you're supposed to roll in with your archery gear on and put it in the corner of the room and then just do the show.
And then yell at your fat intern, where's the packet?
The one thing I have allowed myself to do is I will play golf in the mornings now and then go to work.
You don't get anxiety? I would get anxiety.
See, I don't do that. So on days like Wednesday is a day I can do that. Usually, and the reason I'm here today is because I have two features. Like Maxwell calls today, and we have Animal House. So that helps with the topic load. And then usually the topic load from the day before regarding basically if we didn't burn everything I pulled for that day, and I know it will roll over. It's not time sensitive, and then I know that the other 2 shows before me didn't attack it. That happened twice yesterday. 2 of my big talkers yesterday were destroyed by Sean, and then one was destroyed by the monsters because they talked about it for an hour, and I can't go on the air and talk about something both shows talked about for at length time.
So is that man? We do that all the time.
I have to try to find that
people
niche,
listen at different times, though, right?
I know, but the thing is,
here's my perspective.
If you've heard if you've heard so many opinions about it, I just feel it's been beaten to death and trying to get new stuff. So trying to wiggle in those lines and find something that's interesting is time consuming. But I have allowed myself to play some golf in the morning, and that's really what I'm doing more than anything right now. I'm hitting it so good right now and having so much fun because I'm playing at a high level again that it has my attention again. I quit for years. To raise kids, you can't play golf. Because it's just so. And really, I feel guilty already sometimes playing if I try to play during the weekends because my wife and I have competing schedules. We see each other for about 2.5 hours a day, and that's it. And that's probably relatively common in the American, household. But we don't have kids to do or anything like that. So, she's doing like stained glass now. And I'm doing that.
Stained glass? Oh, my God. That sounds extremely difficult.
We have a stained glass studio in the house now.
Really?
Yeah. So he just turned.
make me a
that
Jesus.
sounds
Make me a
great.
Jesus. Make me a Jesus with a
Hold
boner.
on, we'll put a stained glass in. Bro.
I will knock these windows out and put Tori's stained glass in here. I want a Jesus with a boner, and I want a SpongeBob SquarePants, and I want him smoking a bong. What do you think?
Okay, that'll be your second project.
What does she do? Does she make just her
how
own
do you
designs?
do that?
This is crazy. That's a weird job.
So
we have to talk to Tori.
Yeah.
She's just beginning, but so we bought her this kit, and this kit has like this grinder and the cutter and everything like that.
That's dope.
And then we bought on Facebook Marketplace, which is the effing greatest thing ever. By
Tom
the way,
loves it.
I am a Facebook Marketplace junkie.
I can't do that. Too many minorities.
Okay. So I bought a draft.
Do you get inundated by weird names on Facebook
Yeah,
Marketplace?
yeah.
I don't play with it that much.
A lot
but
of Russians.
like I went in and found this whole drafting table, I shop local, and you can kind of tell. I just try to keep it in the Oviedo, Geneva area.
Gotcha.
And I found this drafting table we turned into her workspace because it has that rubber mat, and she's got the soldering gun and everything. She's just now beginning to kind of put her things together. We just got the room done.
That's rad.
So she's just getting into it. So we're
What
really
a
excited
cool
about it.
hobby, man.
And she's. And oddly enough, my wife will never give herself credit for it. I've
She's
told her this
artsy.
since we're very artistic, but when you grow up in small town world, that's not really nurtured much.
Yeah, they don't respect
Right?
it.
They don't respect it. If you can't run a 440,
I was lucky to have an art mom, right?
Exactly.
Like in DeLand, having a teacher mom who was a musician, kind of rare, pretty awesome for me because she liked art.
Yeah. So in the small southern towns, when you're young and you want to have something like that, it's like, you could work at Winn-Dixie, I guess. They would rather, hey, you should get a job, but art isn't really nurtured, so she didn't really ever have that part of her life really catered to. So now that we're older and we can do things like this, she's starting to kind of endeavor.
Your wife's artsy too.
Well,
she builds stuff. She didn't.
Let's
Where's
talk
the
about
chandelier
this.
she built?
We
gotta get that going.
Out of
Not a
Bud Light cans?
chandelier.
She built a butcher block table. She built a
Damn.
chandelier. I mean, I haven't done any of that.
When I see that, I'm like, you could do this or get to work.
Rick Scott. It's a Rick Scott.
You know, I'd rather have this shit. You know, I'd rather have than the chandelier. Somebody. Maybe.
I'll have to cut that out.
Coming in hot.
Let's talk about that just briefly. Do you find yourself, Jimmy, because I do this, where Crystal will get into something and this happened recently.
Rowing.
No. I didn't.
It's not gonna be that cheap.
I'm almost afraid to bring this up, but I will.
Okay, go ahead.
Man,
You're not that afraid.
this guy, he rolls deadly.
I love
He
it.
does not
All right,
care.
Get in there.
So Crystal, she has on this health kick recently.
That's
she's
good.
not drinking alcohol, and she's
Please don't crap on that. You
No,
have to
it's
be
fine. I'm
a
like, I'm
support
fine.
staff.
Yeah.
I'm serious on that.
And
You
so-
gotta be supportive.
And so I decided I to cut back a little bit as well too because whatever.
Yeah.
And
I
then
have a foot-long Cuban sandwich and 12 beers.
So then and this happens with other things where she gets this idea and she's like, I'm gonna get into this.
Emotional people do that. We
Yeah,
jump in
yeah,
hard.
yeah,
I'm an
yeah.
emotion. Me and Crystal, right there.
And then she tells me that she's like, I ordered a mobile ice bathtub.
Yes.
Because I'm
Oh,
gonna
man.
Rogan ice
Oh,
bathtub.
she saw Rogan.
Can I do it?
Oh,
Can I
my
do it
wife
at your
saw
house?
Rogan.
I want to do it so bad.
My wife saw Rogan too. She goes, he dips himself in ice for 3 minutes every day,
Yeah,
right? I'm
but
like,
he's also a red ladybug man.
Yeah.
Like he is
And listen,
bright red.
And I'm not making fun of the ice bath thing because
That's real stuff.
I know the science behind it. I believe it. Blah blah blah. I am making fun of the commitment it would take to get the benefit out of the ice bath because that is submerging yourself for X amount of minutes a day every day, right?
Yeah,
Well, you also have to. The setup is hard. You got to buy a lot of ice.
I was gonna say $40 worth of ice every morning.
Well, you have an ice machine,
No,
right?
actually, McDonald's one bag of ice is $1.
This guy.
The key to my health is McDonald's ice bags.
You can buy a bag of ice from McDonald's.
I didn't know
It's
that.
$1.
Did your wife tell you that?
No,
is that her grand
she
plan?
went on the ice bath forum
And
or
they're like,
whatever
go
the
to
hell.
McDonald's, you piece of ass.
Which also tells me ice bath forum. You can get to work. How long did it take you to
Ice
find the
bath
ice bath forum on Reddit?
Forum.
It's a Discord. They're swapping.
What do you talk about in dipping yourself in cold
Well, no,
water?
there's different. You gotta have. Do you like a half moon ice?
they're-
Do you like the crunchy ice
or
from
they're-
like Tijuana Flats? What do
Yeah.
you like?
Is
But-
every conversation's like, is it cold
that's-
or response?
hold
It's
on.
pretty cold.
That's gotta be.
How are
Next
you?
topic.
How's your ice bath?
Right,
Mine's
exactly.
cold. How's yours?
It's gotta
Pretty
be a loss leader at McDonald's to sell a bag of ice for $1.
Oh, it's Costco chicken.
insane, right? And they hand it to you through the drive-thru.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing
You go
that.
through
That's
the drive-thru.
You know what? That's all I'm going to start ordering at McDonald's.
That's every day. You got 2 bags of ice and you go to get
I'm not doing that.
and then you
when we
put
get
it in your ice bath.
I'm going to do the orders. We're going to get to the drive-thru with an entire family, and they're going to be, hey, you guys, ice bag? Ice bag back there? Ice bag? We're going to need 9 ice bags.
9 bags. And pass them out. Just start eating
Think about that. You can get 9 bags of ice for $9.
then just have your kids start
That's
eating out of
insane. Like,
That'll be $9.60, sir.
what do you want on ice? I'll put anything on ice for $1. Anyway, they should tell you.
Holy Christ, that was fun.
You're so dumb.
yeah.
Oh,
I love you.
You're
by
the
the way,
greatest.
I don't even start making fun of this because I've learned my lesson
Yeah,
over
yeah,
20
God.
years.
Good boy.
Because I know that this will eventually fade away to no, and then that ice bath, that portable ice bath,
Go in the garage.
will just be in the garage,
Yeah, marketplace tub.
or our kids will be, like
They'll be hiding in there.
yeah. It's
How big is it?
it's like in a
It's a cow trough, isn't it?
No, it's not one of those.
Oh,
It's
okay.
It's a cheapo thing that basically it's like a camping garbage can where where all
wife's
So it-
gonna get
it
in it.
accordions up
Yeah.
and then you fill it.
Is she
in-
going to get in there nude? Because I would love to watch her.
It's like a little barrel and you get in there with ice.
I'm asking a silly question. Don't you guys have a bathtub in the house?
Yes. Sorry, but
We have
she doesn't
COVID.
want.
We have COVID.
She doesn't want to waste the water. I went over this with the bathtub. We've got a bathtub that no one uses, by the way, except
Well,
for
wait,
the kids.
what's the difference in wasting the water in the tub?
Because the ice bath, you leave the water in there,
Yeah.
and then you just add ice to it each time.
okay.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, so
gross.
she's like, well, it's 60 gallons of water in the tub you'd have to drain out every day.
She
and
is
it's like,
big on water.
Yeah. I'm like, water?
Yeah.
The St. John's is full. We can't even take our boat out for months because we have
Is it
too much
your-
water here.
Isn't your
It's not.
pool pretty cold? Could you start with that?
Well, you don't get the effects unless
Oh, yeah,
the
that's
water's
gotta be-
like 40. Like,
Okay.
the
All right,
pool's
all right,
like 58, and you need
What
to be
does
frozen.
it do for you? Because I don't even know the benefits.
It tricks your body.
I know it
into
makes your
thinking-
nipples hard. I know
Yeah.
that.
Swelling and stuff, too.
Yeah, well,
Inflammation.
but
I have
also
a lot of that.
it tricks your body into thinking it's dying, and that's the whole thing. Heat will do the same thing. Like, but the heat is more expensive because you need an infrared sauna. You have to go pay for that. But you just have to trick your body into dying, and then your liver releases some sort of
God.
things. Yeah,
I'm finding out
Sounds like a magic diet.
the chat room is telling me things about McDonald's I never knew. Apparently, people love the straws, and I do too because they're larger.
Yeah.
And I love an ice cold Diet Coke from McDonald's with a large straw. It is so good.
Yeah, I think they mix. I think of all
So
the restaurants,
bubbly.
they mix the
Yeah.
sodas the best.
And
Their
they
Coke
say
is
they
the
do.
most purest.
Also,
is the purest.
I found out this too. They don't use the plastic bags for their syrup. They use the
Containers?
metal cans.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why it tastes better. But apparently, this guy's dad in our chat room loved the straws so much, he drove up there and said, I'd like to buy some straws. And they just handed him a box of them, 250 straws. And we're like, thank you. So you can get straws and ice.
can buy
I'm just telling
straws.
you, yeah, we're learning a lot about McDonald's today.
So the back to my point with the stained glass.
Did you get your ice bath yet? I want to do it. I
No,
want to do it so bad.
It's, like apparently it showed up the other day, and then Chris was like, "You want to do it today for the first
I
time?"
want to do it.
So
Yeah, I have a corresponding story to your ice bath
okay,
story,
okay.
by the way.
But
too, so.
the stained glass, you build the stained glass room, like you're supporting Tori and her
Mm-hmm.
new hobby, and now she's really into it, right? But with every hobby, and this goes with everything, is like you're into it.
Yeah.
And
I'm
next
3D printing right now.
And next thing you know, you see some stained glass, some finished pieces,
Yeah.
and they hang them up, and
Yeah,
there's
you
like,
sell one to a Mima.
then life gets in the way, some things get busy, and then every day you walk by the stained glass room, you notice that there's not very much stained glass being produced lately. And then when do you mention it? Like, hey,
No, you can never can.
like there's this room being
Nope.
it's unused. The
It's
stained
an
glass.
unmentionable.
I spent a lot of money building this,
You can't say
and
a word
there's
about
no
it.
stained
Nope.
glass to be seen anywhere. Nothing. You
Can't
say
talk
nothing
about
you,
it.
you can't even say, "Hey, you're making stained dust."
No,
Oh, okay.
Making
You
stained
can't
dust?
say it
No, you can't.
because I want to so
Okay.
bad.
Oh, no.
So one of the biggest arguments that my wife and I ever got into, right, was this. So my wife has that gear, right?
Oh.
So she decided while at a Tractor Supply one day while buying dog food.
I love Tractor Supply. I love it.
You buy your dog food at Tractor Supply?
it was
If you have a big dog, you can.
It's
yeah.
the closest place, and that's where we got it.
Oh.
Yeah.
So while in there,
That's a great. I love Tractor Supply.
the ducks were in.
What do you mean?
So the chicks, you can buy ducks and chicken chicks there for like $5.50 a piece.
In the store?
Yeah,
Oh my
in
God.
the store.
I'm going to go to McDonald's and get ice, and then I'm going to go to Tractor Supply and get a baby duck, and I'm going to get 250 straws from McDonald's. And I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's going to be fun.
So we come home with 5 ducks one day.
5.
And,
Not one baby duck.
and I remember
5.
And I remember,
Are they chicks or they're
they're
ducks?
chicks.
Is
They're
it
little,
like-
they're chicks. They're like a little.
Okay.
They're literally 5.5 inches tall.
Is it like mini donkeys where you have to have 5?
Right? I know you don't. Yeah,
They
but
get
you-
lonely?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do. You can't. It's hard. I don't think they'll sell you one. I think
Yeah,
they'll
yeah.
sell you like 3.
They
and that's
sell
it.
them in a pack.
They're like, a couple of these will die.
We went for the next prime number, which was 5, right? So we buy 5 of them, and we come home, and they're in like they look like they're in like the KFC takeaway box. Is what it, I mean. They're in
Oh,
the
eat
box,
them.
right?
Don't eat them, Jimmy. You're a good
Right.
cook.
So
I bet you could cook them up good.
So we get them in the house. And I'm like, yeah, these things are gonna grow.
Yeah.
And then what? Because ducks are no joke. They get big, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we had them in the kitchen for a little while. We kind of blocked it off with
You
a doggy
had
gate.
kitchen ducks.
Yeah, we had well, in a little den. If you saw it, you'd know, right? And, so-
I
and the next
guess.
thing you know,
I thought you were rich.
and then next thing you know,
You moved to the country to have a dirt floor duck kitchen?
So next thing you know, the ducks start getting like unmanageable in the house.
Unmanageable. They're beating you up and pushing you around.
We put them on the back porch, which is enclosed, and then they promptly turn that thing into
duck disco.
Doo-doo.
Oh, buddy, let me tell
White?
you,
Is it the white Kawaka doo-doos?
it is
Because they got a Kawaka.
and you know what? It has an ammonia smell
it does.
to it.
It does.
So every day I'd walk out on that back patio where those 5 ducks
man.
were growing and living. And
yeah. What were their names?
And have to Spot, Nene, Stripe.
Spot and Nene.
With some tears, go woo woo.
So we had to build a duck enclosure.
A duck enclosure.
So we had an old shed that was on property. When we got there, we
an
added.
old shed. Where do you live?
Are these chickens or ducks?
They're ducks, dude.
Okay.
They're straight up ducks.
Like quack quack.
So my wife gets attached to them.
Like canal garbage ducks?
Now laying egg ducks. Like they're laying eggs.
Can you
Like
eat
we
a
have
duck?
a.
Yeah, I guess
Are
you
they
can eat
mallards?
So hold on.
What kind of duck?
One of them was a. So they're called khaki Campbells.
Khaki Campbell. I know her.
They're called khaki Campbells. 2 or 3 of them were khaki Campbells, and we had one. The white ones.
Oh yeah, those are called Proud Boys.
Yeah. So.
2 khakis and a Proud Boy.
So these 5 ducks on a whim at Tractor Supply turned into an $1,800 enclosure
Oh my God.
with a $250 horse trough swimming pond.
Hell yeah,
that I had to
Nene
build.
needs that.
I had to build a filter system for.
Filter.
Oh my God. Tom
Buddy.
does the filter system on his
A
ice
duck
bath.
will live in
Okay,
a
hold
duck
on.
will live in a sewer.
Listen, hold on.
They'll live in a trash dump.
Here's the best part. We live on a pond
Oh no.
that the ducks could have easily called home.
yeah.
And then we find out
It's
later
natural.
they would come right back into the enclosure at night, like everybody,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
problems
So
whatsoever.
pond is or the man-made pond unneeded.
Right.
Yeah. But
So-
Tori's too scared that something wild
Right,
will
yeah,
get
these
over
are her
here.
babies.
Right.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
that's her
that-
baby.
So it turns
Oh my
out
God, this
that
is what I'm looking forward to.
Nene is the white one, the one that she absolutely loves. Is a big duck. As a big duck, she was very personable.
Yeah.
The duck drowns.
Oh my, not dude.
The duck drowns.
How
does
does
it
a
drown?
duck drown?
Okay.
That's what they're made to do.
Oh,
Like, did it drown in your pond? Because I'm
it-
calling Ray Trindley.
it did drown in our pond. Now
Oh my God,
here's what
that's
happened.
a murder.
The filter pumped the water out of the pond, and the duck couldn't get out of the pond.
Oh my God, you killed it with your
No.
filtration. You're a murderer.
But the other ducks were in the pond, and she'd had some problems, some health problems and stuff before. We knew that something was
God.
wrong. But the other ducks had no problem getting out of the pond, even though it was low. She wound up drowning in the pond.
She's weak.
After she drowned, no interest in the ducks.
Oh, yeah.
What about
Because-
the other
Well,
one?
it's like when a kid dies, you just shut the door in the room and you never go
You
back.
seal that bitch shut, you never go back.
I agree with that.
Right,
if
you
that
wa-
happened right now, you know.
But what about your other kids?
No, I don't
No.
have any. I shut the door and I walk into the ocean. That's what I do.
And you don't even look at that door. When you walk by that room, you turn your head away.
Yeah, wall
as
it
if
up.
it's stolen something
Wall
from you.
it up.
So anyway, this thing, so down, we break the filter down, try to sell the
This
thing,
is a
tearing this
terribly
apart.
sad story, man.
That's not sad. I mean, the other ducks went to we gave the other ducks to what I'm going to eat in my coon.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Which one? Spot? You got ripped apart.
We didn't even.
Oh, they'll rip it. Oh, they'll rip it good.
Get it, guys.
They eat them alive.
Yeah,
Guys,
they eat
it's-
them alive. They leave them alive a little bit.
It's not good.
Because
The
raccoons
scene-
are smart. They do. It's
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
like a Reservoir Dogs torture
Yeah,
scenario.
The scene was bad. Let's just say the scene was.
Did she find it or you?
I found that one.
And you kick some leaves on it and walk
No,
away.
I just said, hey, that one end's gone, and so
the other three went to
went to a woman in Geneva that does this. She takes animals that did. We just put up on a marketplace like, hey, I got three ducks.
Free ducks.
And let me tell you what, she came and got them that day without any problems. So.
Oh man!
But what if she was like? What if she's driving away and she's like, "I'm gonna get you"? So,
But you know
if she
what?
was bad?
See that?
So you have to go through life and experiences like that because she tolerates stuff like that from you.
Did you
and
tear
my
it
wife
down?
tolerates stuff like that from me. No, we didn't tear it down. We're waiting. We're going to turn it into a garden, and you have to have an enclosure out there for a garden because the deer will eat everything.
So Jimmy, I gotta ask you a question.
Sure.
That was
because
a roller coaster of emotions.
I apologize for the emotions.
Because when we were younger,
No.
me and Daniel used to give you a lot of about how busy you were with your kids, and we used to.
Oh, I heard the show yesterday, by the way.
We used to just be like, well, "How are you that busy?
Yeah,
like,
it's
what
not-
are they
come on,
doing?"
They're 25 years old.
Well, not even. Well, these were younger kids. Like when we knew you,
But they're smart.
And I would say, no,
15
guys, I
years
can't
ago.
go out drinking on a Tuesday at 6.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I've got kid stuff. You're like, oh, you liar. You don't have kid stuff.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
making all this up.
You're like, "I'm so busy. I got to do this and that." You used to describe your day, and I'm like, "Oh my god,
It
I
sounds
can't
terrible.
be that busy." Then, like now I see, I'm like, well, with 7 and 8 year olds, they got all these activities. They got the homework. They got school and all this stuff.
Well,
and
you
they,
also sign your boys up for it. They go to everything.
Yeah.
well, I mean, like even Maisie's dancing every weekend.
every day's
There's-
dance.
like,
But that's easy for me because I'm just like, go to dance. Bye.
Well, yeah. Well, Jimmy had 4. Like, Daniel did it right. He got one,
I
and
got
his wife
one,
does
and
all the
she's
work.
so independent. Well, I don't even have to do it. Like she does a lot of her own work.
yeah.
You know,
That's,
it's like she's
that's
like,
the new thing right now. The one and done families is the
Yeah.
new trend.
So anyway,
Make a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah.
I apologize for giving
Yeah,
you
you
so
don't
much.
have
to.
Yeah.
But listen,
I don't
now-
mean it.
now you guys
I'm glad I did it.
You guys, don't regret it. You guys covered something yesterday that also is true. All right, so now that you do know that when you have kids, you had 2, I had 4. I mean, I'm not, it's on a flex here, but it was take that and then both people have to work twice as hard to make those things happen. And as they get to be teenagers and are really dependent on you because of the travel thing, whether it be going out to the movies at night or whatever, it even gets worse, right? So, but you guys did hit on something that was completely true. I think it was Daniel yesterday that said that people use kids as excuses to get out of stuff they don't want to do.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I was an absolute wizard at that. I mean, nobody used their kids to get out of stuff they didn't want to do more than I did, and I had no problems doing it at all. No
I've
problem.
stolen that from you. It's one of the best things you ever told me. We've even talked about it.
It's undefendable.
It's an easy thing to not hurt, especially I use it when it's like something where I don't want to hurt that person's feelings.
Right.
Because I really don't want to do it. If somebody's like, hey, my recital's coming up. I'd love for you to see me play my violin. I'm like, oh, Maisie's got it. It's just easier. Because I don't want to do that. I don't want to hurt your feelings. I want to support you.
Right,
But I got a kid.
Right.
And you were a wizard at that. And it is a skill that I think
so
parents need to know how to do that to not hurt your friend's feelings.
Never felt bad about it once.
So my question being is that now that your kids are grown, right,
God.
and
Super
Can you imagine the life I have right now?
all around the globe.
You have no idea.
out of the house and then success.
You
You
did
know,
a good
independent.
job. You look at it. It's got to feel good to
So,
look
but-
at him. I did it.
But then it goes back to now. There's a lot more time that you have to
they
yourself.
party, dude. I see.
I know,
him
yeah,
and
yeah.
Tori
Dude, we
are
don't-
out. They're
So
traveling.
I can't even comprehend what the hell.
I'll be dead. I'll never. I'm an old dad, so I'll be dead.
And then
I'll never get any of that
and
because I
I'm-
waited too late to have my kids. I should have had them at like 13, 14.
Also, I imagine Crystal's going to do some animal hoarding. Somebody starts trying to fill
That's
or
definitely
void.
gonna,
I'm
is
doing that
definitely
now.
going to happen.
There's
I'm
gonna
doing
be
that
ducks
now.
involved.
I want all pee-pee dogs. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
getting to an age where I want nothing but little dogs surrounding me at all
Yeah.
times, and I want like an army of them.
Tori already told me if we were not married, she would live in a trailer with probably 6 cats, 9 dogs, and a parrot or 5.
Me too.
Yeah. So when you have that much time, what the hell do you do, Jimmy?
Well, seemingly I have time, but it's weird how that is, TC.
But now you're not back to focused on your show and
it's-
your
It is so crazy, when I bought my little car to start building, I'm like, oh man, exactly. I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. The kids are out, everybody's doing good. As a father, I can go, okay, I can close that chapter of my life and
Just
now
monitor it a little bit.
help them
right?
manage as they need
Yeah.
mentoring or whatever. They can call me up or good. We can FaceTime, whatever the case
That's
may
a good
be.
feeling.
And I was like, man, this is awesome. So then I get the show, and I'm like, well, we'll take some time getting this thing on the road and kind of getting the ratings good because the first 2 years were really difficult. We didn't really, for some reason, it just didn't take.
Well, it's a switch.
And then all of a sudden, it just took, and we had an amazing 2022. I mean, an amazing 2022. So with that said, just now, I have allowed myself to go, okay, now you can take some time for yourself because those other goals have been achieved, and now it's just kind of establishing, maintenance on that. Are your segments fresh? Are the topics still good? Are you still delivering the same message you did before? When you are still struggling to be good at this job, because that's very important. Yeah. It's the old garage band making it on the first album and having their producer go, do me a favor. Don't go act like a rich idiot now and maintain some of that struggle because that's what made you famous to begin with. It's that whole thing. Not saying fame at that level, but
Drive.
it's just the idea of success.
I don't have
rather
any of
than and that complacency,
I'm
man.
done. I look at this.
I'm closer than you want to know.
Yeah.
I tease my guys all the time. I'm like, guys. Because Phillips did this to his crew.
I'm like, how can we phone this in?
He told them at some
I
point,
love phoning it in.
We think about changing the name of the show to call it Tom and Dan. Phone it in.
Yeah, imagine if you didn't have to work, you just called and you phoned it in.
Yeah,
This is so easy.
Phillips told those guys for years before before he quit. He goes, look, at any given moment, I'm telling you straight up, at any given Friday, I could walk out of this bitch and it'd be gone. And just know you need to be
He told me
prepared
that
for
one day. I was talking to him. I forget what we were doing. I think we went to lunch or something, and he told me, he said, I haven't decided when I'm going to quit, but sometimes I dream of just walking out.
When he got to retirement age, when he reached, I think, 67 years old, not saying he's older than that,
right.
But when he reached that age, his attitude changed dramatically. He was just like, I've done this for a very long time, and he said the perfect thing to say to get out of this business to me. Now, he said this to me personally. I don't think he had a problem with me sharing it. He said, I just don't have anything left to say anymore.
Yeah.
What am I going to say? I've been on the air 40 years. What's left to talk about? And of course, the Trump presidency really was the nail in the coffin for him because he just couldn't. When you think logically and you have somebody at that level that doesn't think very logically, beside your party, it doesn't matter for your party. You just
oil and water, man.
This person doesn't understand what's going on, and he's in charge, and he doesn't get it. Like all the aides are like, this guy does not have an 8th grade grasp of American history, and that it just broke him. He could not.
He would rail. Yeah, he was mad.
I say broke him. I shouldn't say that because he was a legend going out. But that
heard it here first. Trump broke Jim Phillips and made him quit. That's what Jimmy said. Jim Colbert said that.
But it damn sure didn't help.
Wait till you find out about the duck murder. Oh my God!
It made it so tough to be, to be diverse because you have such strong feelings about something like that. You can't find.
So if other people even support that, you're just like, I can't do that at all.
I get it. I mean, you get caught up in that trap very easily.
And when you're older, I think you don't want to mess with that anymore.
You don't. And he still writes the Sentinel about stuff all the time.
Yeah.
If you go in there, the op-ed guys, he's always writing letters to the Sentinel. And many people have talked to me and trying to talk him into a podcast. He won't even hear it.
Yeah. So we did too.
We talked to him a while ago, and I think I'm okay sharing this too. But I talked to him. He actually ended up. I gave him a list of equipment that he purchased.
Oh yeah, really?
And he has all the gear, and I think he just boxed it up and put it away.
Yeah. Now
he returned it because he was just like, I thought about it, and I'm just like, same thing you said. I think I'm done saying things.
Yeah.
I'd talk him out of it now. Like, good luck competing against every single person.
Well, I think he could get an audience. His name, people still text the show about him every single day. He's only been off the air for 3 years, and people still remember that. So
he'd get an audience. It's just what does an audience mean nowadays?
Yeah.
It's so different. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's changed so much since the past 20 years.
Hey, did you guys have a good 2022?
Yeah. I mean, ours is always like a constant grind of,
I never look at anything as being good. My back's all screwed up, so I'm an angry boy.
Our accountants will give us an end of the year thing, but it's really just can we continue to maintain a healthy business and have goals to grow to and accomplish things like the Airbnb. We accomplished that, and we
Very cool,
did a full year.
Super jealous.
Pain in the ass.
Doing and
everything is right. That's why I think that
there's nothing
from our perspective. A lot of what I look at is like. We did it. Like a lot of that. I don't really look at it and be like, that was a good year.
It is the perception of people in this, for people in this business is that it is automatic, and then there's no. It is. It couldn't be farther from that, but
it is. Yeah, and it's just the constant grind. The one positive that we have is at least it's like. as we're grinding it out and looking and things get more stable the more you do it. So you've owned a small business before. It's like the longer
tough.
you do it.
It's got to be easier doing the show now for you because, like, how many years? 8? 7 now?
For my own show since 18. So this is 4 years, 4 or 5
see,
years.
I always like that's how bad I am
seems
after
longer,
COVID. It does seem longer. It seems like you've had the show for 7 or 8 years.
It's weird though because from our perspective, it's still relatively new to us.
Absolutely.
It took us 2 years just to find a groove where we all kind of felt that we knew how to kind of fall in order when talking on the air and not talking over everybody. That's I used to say that on the Monsters all the time. I'm like, nobody's hearing these jokes. Because everybody's so excited to get in there and try to say something that there's no order, and and it wouldn't happen all the time, but it would happen a lot if there was a hot moment, and we're trying to just cater to those times where everybody can get their joke in or their comment in, and it's clean, and we just think that that's a better sounding product.
I would agree with that. We're a mess. We just
So-
yell over each other,
Nightmare.
screaming and
Nightmare.
yelling at each other. We
Hey,
invite Jolly on here. He's screaming.
Oh yeah, he's the greatest.
He's driving a tank. He's cursing.
Well, I want to tell you, if you want to hear the worst two guys at podcasting, if you ever want to feel good about yourself in any way, shape, or form, listen to Fly on the Wall with David Spade and Dana Carvey.
Oh, really?
Their podcast is as bad as it gets. But listen, the great thing about it being horrible is they get the best I'm an SNL goon, but they get the best guests from SNL. Kevin Nealon, Lorne Michaels, and they ask them about like behind the scenes stuff, which I absolutely love. But they're so unbelievably bad at it, it's laughable. And they just did a Q&A thing with Jimmy Kimmel hosting it about the show the first year, and the entire thing was about how bad they are at it. Like they make fun of themselves about being bad at it.
And
That's good though.
Yeah,
I like that.
At least it's different.
Yeah,
I guess
it's different.
But and
they're two-
their
there's some-
names.
Yeah.
But that's what I didn't see, Jimmy. Like back when we even saw like podcasts being a
This
thing.
bothers you too.
Is that
Impulsive.
Well, I no, that's a different story.
But still, the
that's
delivery.
young people doing it.
I mean, Jimmy,
yeah.
that's what Jimmy's talking about there. Like his show, I'm sure he wants him and Ross and Deb and Jack all firing in logical places where nobody is just like mushing and then talking over each other. You want it smooth.
I want it to sound like you're reading a perfectly written script. That's the sound to me. Like everybody's in tune, like an old radio thing where everybody just kind of has their place. And although things are off the top of your head, it's not scripted per se. That everything falls into order, and it's way more difficult than people give it credit.
That's old school too.
Yeah, it is super old.
That takes a tremendous amount of reps too.
And I hear these podcasts today, and I can't listen to them because they have you guys are easy to listen to comparatively because so many other
We're radio
podcasts,
guys.
it's either one or the other. It's so corporate that it's like, and John then parked the boat. Here's Chrissy to tell you about what kind of car John drives.
Yeah,
Like those things, right? It's kind of weird.
NPR style.
But then you get the real raw ones where it's like you 5 dudes with a mic in a room and they're all hammering beers and they think it's funny. And you're like, oh man, this is unlistenable at all levels.
No one's trying to keep any sort of topics going.
That's
or
kind of how
like
we started, really. I mean,
Well,
No,
no,
it
but we have
wasn't
the
Yeah, we had
talk
structure.
radio background helps
You
a
guys have
lot.
the chops.
But,
The chops.
That's some structure. Again. I don't know.
what I didn't see a lot of these celebrities doing these podcasts for no monetary reason and just for hobbies and like just to do them
For their own ego or something.
because a lot of celebrities now are doing podcasts. I mean, some of them obviously will help them with promotion and marketing, but for the most part, it's really but it's so easy to do that they'll do them for free, and then that creates. I mean, it's another distraction if you're in a world of like audio entertainment. It's like, well, now there's that to choose from.
Competition.
Real quick, and I can ask this because you guys, how are we on time, by the way? Are we getting close?
It doesn't matter. We don't. It doesn't matter to us.
So-
Whenever you have to leave.
Whenever you're gonna leave, just walk out like Jim Phillips. would.
Okay, I'll just ask you because I don't know this. So, at one point, okay, are there podcast groups that own different podcasts? Like, could there be there be a Tom and Dan podcast corp that has Tom and Dan as a show, like my show is a show? Let's just go for example, like Sean's show for a show, Sam's show for a show, and that would be like a podcast network. And you got
There's networks. There's tons of networks. In fact,
We've been approached by a bunch of them.
Yeah, and the business model behind that is
Podcast One.
what they realize
Gotcha.
is there's like you need a
Wonderly.
sales staff. So all the companies that had giant sales staffs, like radio stations, so like there's a sales staff.
Well,
and then
Westwood One just made a
iHeart's doing
podcast
this.
department
iHeart
and
as
just called
well,
it
yeah.
Podcast
iHeart's
One.
doing this.
You know, iHeart Podcast. I mean,
they already have the infrastructure of a sales staff, and so most of the independent podcasts, they have good content, and they're good at creating content, horrible at marketing or sales.
Nerds.
They don't have a sales staff to go out there and sell and add commercials to their show. So then the network will say, hey, join our network, and then we'll give you 70% of the sales revenue.
Lipson does that.
Co-op ads,
We'll
right?
take 30 and
Right.
then go there. Or the new thing is, if you have a big enough audience, a marketing agency will come and just buy all your content and then give you a monthly guarantee.
We have some friends that
They'll give you like, hey, $65,000.
big deal. They made a big deal.
We'll give you $65,000 a month for all your advertising rights.
We'll just control all of it.
And then so you just do the shows, and then we'll insert the commercials. And not only will
You have approval, but
we'll insert different commercials based on the IP address that's downloading.
we'll geofence it.
And the thing is, like, after I heard, you're right there with iHeart, it's weird because could you guys sell the content to multiple podcast partners?
Probably not based on the contract that if we could write it into the contract somehow.
Right. So, in other words, if a guy like Rogan goes to Spotify and he sells his, he goes, hey, he is solely on Spotify and that's it. So they're paying for the exclusivity.
Yes,
for sure.
And a lot of places want that.
And
And
then
kill
just
shows, though.
And then to the Rogan thing, the podcast company can say, well, Colgate is one of our big sponsors, or Tide, or whatever the case may be. So regardless if you like Tide or not, regardless of
the commercial,
you're getting this. This is happening in your time slot.
Yeah.
Well, unless you said, I didn't want to do that, and they were like, okay, we'll swap it
And
for
they're not-
Man Great.
I mean, they're like Buffalo Trace whiskey is, like so.
Harry's, whatever.
Sure.
Just like a radio station. I mean, there are. It's
exactly
funny, Jimmy,
the same as
because
radio.
even YouTube's content providers,
They're just radio.
They're doing the boxing. They're doing the same '90s stuff that the radio did.
Put your hand on the car.
TikTok.
The person that leaves their hand on the car the longest gets the Lamborghini. I'm like, oh my God, this is 89.
They've got a cast of R words eating garbage or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
They got a
Like,
whole bunch of creature people acting stupid.
There's some creature people acting stupid. There's some boxing involved. There's
Hey,
some man on the
spin
street.
this wheel and I'll shave your eyebrows off for $1,000. It's like,
Put
what
your
is
hand
happening?
on the
Taser nuts.
Put your hand on the RV. Last person.
it.
It's all because guess what? There's not that much to do. So of course it's going to be recycled. There isn't. How much more entertainment? There's only 25 different things you could do.
And then topically, you get bludgeoned with the news. I mean, there is
I'm over it.
There's no way to escape it, right? So I even feel bad about pulling stories from the news to talk about sometimes because I would rather talk about life instances. But you know what? Life instances don't happen on your schedule.
Right.
These things happen to you, and you talk about when that happens, but that doesn't happen every day. So you have to supplement that kind of content, and and again, people just with your phones now. You get bludgeoned with the news. You're constantly reminded of the Idaho murders. You're constantly reminded of, finding a Speaker of the House. You're constantly reminded of these things. So to talk about it, I think is a giant turnoff. So you're trying to find nooks and crannies in there to find like interesting human-related items that you can kind of get to that are interesting. And the duck den is one of them and stuff like that.
Well, before we go, because I know you got to get out of here.
I do. I've got a very important lunch, people.
I
like that.
Not really.
We eat lunch here every single day, and it's sad. In silence, I eat a bowl of chili every
for
day.
you.
Do you find yourself, because we do more and more, where we realize like, oh, we're talking to a specific audience
our
that
guys.
was there the whole time, that is our audience, and we do not have to make it broad enough to encompass like younger people. Like there are no 20-year-olds. I mean, there are some anomalies, but the 20-year-olds aren't listening to our show, right? Like our age guys and girls are listening to our show, and because we're talking about our lives, so they relate to that because they're around our age. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
what's their perspective? What do they think about this?
To try to act younger or talk about younger subjects or whatever, to like somehow capture a younger audience, it seems to me a waste of your time because now you're alienating your base, which is your age. Because then
but
they're
I
gonna be
will
like,
say
"Why are you saying?"
I am gender fluid.
Okay, good.
That happened in 2022.
Good for you, buddy.
I'm just saying we put that just little subtle things you throw out there to pull younger people in.
Okay, good. You're gender fluid.
Yeah.
So, interestingly, that only arises when I write trivia. I don't really think about that context-wise when I'm doing the show
give
for topics.
Give us a question.
No. Oh. So when I'm writing trivia, I'm rolling through like birthdays or whatever, trying to find something because my trivia is on this day. On this day in history, this happened, and I'll kind of come off that and do something like the other day it was National Polar Bear Day or whatever. So you're like, here's 3 fun facts about polar bears and 1 lie. Find the lie, and we'll give you a prize or whatever. And I find myself like tuning into things that I knew as a kid, like birthdays. Like, oh yeah, Emmitt Smith's birthday today. He's a real interesting guy. And then you're like, no 30-year-old listening to my show, we have him, knows who the F Emmitt Smith is.
Yeah, they do. QC Kinetics ads. He's on there.
But the thing is that's the thing is like, will these people know people that I looked at and like, wow, that's really cool. It's that guy's birthday because they were a big, but a quarter of my audience has no idea. So I find myself kind of finding that balance of, somebody in your age group or maybe a little bit younger or a little bit older, some athletes, but not all athletes because who cares about cricket? or anything like that.
Yeah.
But
half the world cares about cricket.
But right.
That's the weird
but now
thing.
your
My
listeners,
audience.
Like if you look at India, which is about to surpass China, they are some cricket MFers. They love it.
Even the soccer thing, and you guys went through this, even the soccer thing, because that's a limited audience.
We lied about that. That was all a lie. We never liked it. We never we did that because we got to do what we got to do. I put the purple on. I'm like, I'm out of radio. We got to do what we got to do.
I won't call it football.
Yeah, I'll never
That's
call
not
it
my
that.
football.
It's not my football.
Oh, God.
Not my football. I like a Jerry Glanville leaving tickets for Elvis. If you're not cheating, you're not playing.
It's good seeing you guys, man.
Jimmy,
Good
it was
seeing
great
you
seeing you
too,
too.
man.
Are you able to do the golf thing next week? Possibly?
I think we already talked about it.
Okay.
Oh,
cool, yeah,
that's
'cause that's what I want to
okay,
get
slapped
down
your
to.
cheeks.
I want
So
to
real
get down
quick,
to the
This
golf.
is a real businessman, right? You just slapped your cheeks.
Tell me about this. Tell me about this golf thing because
I just want
is there a challenge thing happening?
No. I just want you to meet.
He's going to
at
suck
Drive-
you out there to do a challenge.
No, I just want to meet at Drive Shack and then
He's playing some of the best golf of his life right
I
now.
want to talk
Aren't you?
golf, and then I want to watch you hit some balls,
What-
and then I want
real
you
quick.
to give me some pointers when I hit some balls.
Seriously, what was because you and I have talked about this
Yeah.
in private about his real love. I'm being serious now. About his real love for golf. And you and I have shared some like real talk where you were like, this is the thing I love. You love it. It's in your heart. It's in your body. It's a thing that you are super passionate about. And remember, I told you, it crushed me that you put it aside.
Oh, I quit.
Because he has real talent.
Yeah.
I told
He is
Ross.
it
I told
makes
Ross-
me sad. And now you're back?
I told Ross twice I said, because Ross was like, I quit. Because Ross is
He's a great golfer.
He's a real good player.
You guys together could just
So,
shred.
with that said, he told me yesterday, he goes, but yeah, I quit. I said, buddy, listen, I could go back and archive monsters where I've come on the air. Like, I quit this game. I can't take it anymore. It's too much. So now I figured a couple things out in my swing that really I should have paid attention to about 20 years ago.
Crazy.
And playing to about a 3 handicap now, which means I average shooting anywhere from 73 to 76.
Wow, that's
great.
On good golf courses. We're
I
not
don't
talking
even
about
have that
jokey
on the
golf
video
courses.
game. Like, I don't even have that on when I play the Tiger Woods has a new golf game. I think I sent you a screenshot of it.
You did.
I don't even have that on the computer.
I play 60 in golf courses from 6,600 yards to 68. Now the tour plays like 7,400 yards. I'm not going to be hitting 3 irons in the greens all day long. So I play the senior tour, what the senior tour would be playing. And one of my aspirations is to at least try to qualify for a senior amateur event.
Can we sponsor your back? Can we sponsor you? Can we pay you?
An FSGA event where I qualify and play like a mid-am tournament or maybe a senior tournament.
Can we buy you some John Daly pants that have Tom and Dale logos on them?
Because the thing is what's unique about my game is this. Even though I'm 55, I still hit the ball pretty darn far for an older guy. I can move it. I can still hit it.
Always been able to hit it.
I can still hit it 285, 290, when I catch one. So
most guys can't do that.
I can take that 6,600-yard golf course and turn it into a golf course that I can really be aggressive with scoring irons. Basically, it's just how I putt. Is how my game. So I've got a lot of work to do. It's a hard thing to do to commit a lot of time.
You got to do it, man.
All right, well,
be out there 3 or 4 days a week.
Let's talk about it next Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because I want to go through all the different golf things. So Jimmy, thanks so much.
Thanks for being here, man.
Good seeing you guys.
The Jim Colbert Show, you can listen to it Monday through Friday, of course, on Rural Radio 104.1.
Please give the team some love from us.
3 to
we
7.
haven't seen them in a minute.
Yeah, JimColbertLive.com for all the stuff we have online.
Are you still on Twitch and YouTube? Or doing
We do
it?
just YouTube now.
Okay,
we dropped
YouTube
Twitch
now.
because we had some problems with the feed, and we found that having multiple feeds. We also dropped Facebook as well, so now it's just YouTube.
There you go.
Cool.
There,
Perfect.
find him on the YouTubes.
Word.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, and then I can kill the feed, right?
Yeah.
Okay. See you guys.